Signs of a big change coming in just before Thanksgiving. This could flip the pattern around, and it gives us an early signal to what winter could be. Hi, everybody. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Justice looking at the pattern reload. That's what we'll call it here because we've got a big ridge building in. However, for the Northeast, this is not going to be a big ridge. This is going to be a major cool down, which is going to allow for some snow to break out for some of you. Folks, let me know where in the comment section you're watching from right now. And if you're new to this channel, my whole spiel is I give you an early look as to where severe weather is going to happen. Subscribe and turn on those notifications as I will keep you posted about any snow, any severe weather that could be coming in. And folks, we honestly could have both over the next 2 weeks time frame. The models are hinting at the possibility closer to Thanksgiving for storms, and beyond that, could turn our tame weather into more volatile weather. So the red means a ridge. That's a rising motion in the atmosphere. The dip in the jet stream, which comes in right here, is a pronounced dip. It's going to be really cold for upstate New York, New Hampshire, Vermont, through Maine, Massachusetts, going into Sunday, Monday. For the rest of us, it's not going to be much of a cool down, from 70s to 60s, from Florida to Georgia to the Carolinas. Then we look back toward the west. Big ridge comes back in, most of next week tame. But there's this dip right here. This could lead to some storms, East Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, into Missouri going into Thursday, Friday this upcoming week. And that could lead to more storms spreading into Alabama. We'll have to watch that, maybe even to Middle Tennessee. That could lead also a little bit of rain trying to move off toward the east for Kentucky, parts of Louisiana, up through Mississippi, Alabama. Severe weather, a possibility. We'll be watching out for that, but then we're back to the big ridge again. That takes us into Thanksgiving week, where a more pronounced dip in the jet stream. This one shows it kind of stalling back toward the west and getting a little more amplified right here. This could lead to a major warm-up just before Thanksgiving across the eastern half of the United States. Meanwhile, the GFS model has it more progressive at that time frame. Let me flip over to the GFS model. It shows this dip coming in right before Thanksgiving and dialing on over toward the East Coast. So we'll have to watch this. This could lead to some storms and, at the very least, some colder Arctic air trying to spill east into the United States. Now, what this does mean is it's going to open the door for more Arctic air to begin to spill down. What this tells me is the door is closed for cold air for a good bit of the south for probably the next 10 days. But as we get toward the end of November, the pattern looks to flip, and that would give us a better chance at seeing some colder air spill south, and maybe even things getting a little bit more interesting winter-wise for the Midwest up through the Northeast. So what does that mean right now? Big picture, as we're looking out, big dip in the jet stream coming in this weekend could lead to some snow from upstate New York through New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine. Are you watching right now from up there? You're going to get mighty cold. Minnesota, Wisconsin, into Michigan. Into the upper Midwest, you could as well. But for the rest of us, mild, above normal temperatures expected for a good bit of next week as that big ridge begins to build in. Meanwhile, big low pressure system coming off the Pacific right here, diving into California. This could lead to some storms in some locations. And if it phases together, we could have a more pronounced dip in the jet stream, which could lead to severe weather trying to break loose. But here we are going toward the end of the month, and I think we're starting to get into a more pronounced pattern. If we get some blocking in here, this is going to allow this dip in the jet stream to come a little bit more pronounced. We'll have to watch that because as we move forward here, that is going to be the pattern in place. Big picture snow, rain. I don't see much rain for the southeast. In fact, for the northeast, I see some rain changing to snow throughout the day on Sunday, and then you get a little lake effect snow wrapping around that low pressure system here from New York to Pennsylvania. It could be quite a bit of snow in some locations up through New Hampshire and Vermont. Then as we turn things toward late next week, you got that low pressure system. That could lead to some storms in some parts of the south, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. That'll be something to watch moving forward. That moves off toward the east, and here we go again with the progressive pattern continuing until we get to right before Thanksgiving, and you got this big sheared out look right here. Big snow for the Rockies in this situation, and that is important. We need to start getting the snowpack to happen back here through Canada because that would be a sign of some things to change. But over the next week's time frame, we do get some snow up here through the upstate part of New York into the eastern half of the United States. So as far as totals are concerned, I don't see much rain. The rain looks to be absent from Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas as we are entering a very dry stretch here. I don't see a good chance for rain unless we get something to change. As we look at the fronts over the next 10 days, I see us getting some rain changing to snow up through the Northeast. Here's the rain for early Sunday. Then throughout the day on Sunday, that changes to snow from northern parts of Pennsylvania up through most of New York into New Hampshire, Vermont, into Maine, and the UP of Michigan, and getting some snow, and that would continue into early Monday morning. And then we go to next week, and we're pretty tame again. Other than a few showers to the Tennessee Valley, I just don't see us getting very much activity. Could there be storms? Could there be severe weather mid next week? That's what we have to watch out for. As you see that area highlighted by NOAA right there in red, we'd have to watch that pattern as Oklahoma into Texas, depending on those boundaries, could see a little bit of fuel for some thunderstorm activity. How about that snow? Here it comes, rain to snow, upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, getting in some big snow action here Sunday, rain to snow. Sunday night, that snow continuing to move out of Canada and moving east-northeast, and then we get into some rain late next week, possibly even some storms in some of those locations. How about snow totals here? Upstate New York, I don't have much for you. I've got 1 to 3 inches, but you have to get up here into northern parts of New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine, where you get closer to 6 to 10 inches of snow. That could be a lot for some areas here in the Northeast. As far as Florida is concerned, I don't have anything for you rain-wise, storm-wise. In fact, you're going to be quite mild over the next 6 to 10 days. The new outlook just came out showing we are well above normal temperature-wise across a good bit of the eastern half of the United States. So, folks, that's the way kind of things are shaping up right now. I did want to file this report for you, giving you an update on what's to come, because I see things getting a little bit more interesting as we turn the corner into December, as our pattern gets a little bit more amplified and active for the south. That's a harbinger of what could be coming our way for the first part of winter. Active in the north, tame in the south, maybe even drought conditions, mild drought. That's what a La Nina does. However, there are signs that La Nina is going to be La Nada. It's barely hanging on right now, but as we go deeper into December, into January, I do think that pattern may be changing a little bit for us, and it may get a little bit more active in the south. Folks, I promise to keep you posted. If you're new to this channel, please, as always, like this video so more people can see, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those notifications. I would sure appreciate it, and my promise to you is to keep you posted for severe weather of any kind. Keep it locked in right here if you don't follow the page, and let me know in the comment section where you're watching from.